When my wife told me our retirement account was running a little low, I smiled, wiped drywall dust off my hands, and made a plan. By spring, she was explaining herself under oath. By summer, her boyfriend wasn't paying rent because he didn't have an address. Justice doesn't yell, it audits. You won't believe what I did next. 15 years married, 12 years in business together, 6 years of Lily, who still colors the sun purple because yellow is too obvious. We used to live above a bakery. The mornings smelled like sugar and ambition, lavender and Erica's cheap shampoo, chipped mugs, blueprints on napkins. We built a renovation company out of splinters and stubbornness. I did the work you can bruise your knuckles on. She did the work you can hide inside a password. In business, she liked to say, numbers don't lie, Daniel. People do. I thought she meant the other people. The first crack? Tuesday. I walked in early, found her at the counter with that private smile people wear when the room is an audience and the phone is a stage. Screen down, voice up. Hey, you're home early. Trust manufactures excuses faster than suspicion can count them. Weeks later, I logged in to pay Keeler Lumber and blinked, 9,800. Vendor prepayment, West Shore Materials. We don't use West Shore, we never have. Bulk discount if we prepay, she said without swallowing. 15%. You'll see the savings on the next jobs. It sounded like a spreadsheet patting me on the head. Her eyes didn't quite meet mine. Near my face, not at it, a dart thrown at the wall and called a bullseye. Then the gray whisper on her phone. One message deleted. Then another vendor prepayment. Another new supplier. Always just under 10 grand, like guilt staying below a tripwire. One transaction finally blinked. Park Ridge Lofts. Tenant, Ryan Calloway, Unit 2B. Another Capital Auto Finance. Borrower, Ryan Calloway. The money had been introducing him the whole time. I just never asked for his full name. Trust said, relax. My stomach said, count. I forgot my tape. I drove home at noon, didn't text, her car's in the drive, through the window, Lily on the rug, princess dress, Lego Kingdom, marker on her cheek like a comet. She saw me, lit up, and waved like I was Santa on lunch break. I put a finger to my lips. She giggled, shh, from the kitchen. Erica's voice lower than usual. A hush you learn when you don't want the walls to repeat you. Yeah, I sent it yesterday. No, he doesn't know. Then the soft mom voice, weaponized sugar. Sweetie, mommy's on the phone for work. Go draw in your room, okay? Translation. Don't let the tape recorder hear. Lily skipped down the hall, Tool whispering secrets. Erica again, voice now under the floorboards. You'll have the rent by Friday. I'll cover the car payment next week. He still has no idea. Rent, car payment, he. The house hummed like normal. Fridge, vents, the upstairs faucet that never fully shuts off. I kissed Lily's hair as she passed. Apple juice and crayons. Grabbed my tape. Left. At the site, Mike looked at me like foremen do when a beam looks fine but feels wrong. You good? Yeah, I lied. House stuff. That night I called him back. Garage tomorrow. Park your truck 2 blocks away. Wait for my text to unlock the door with the remote. Drive it out so she thinks I'm gone. I'll be inside. He didn't ask why. Real friends loan silence before advice. Done, he said. Sleep came in dimes, not dollars. He doesn't know. Looped like a cheap song. The garage trick worked like we'd rehearsed it in another life. Mike eased out. The engine faded. The house went quiet the way a lie goes quiet when it thinks it's alone. I hid in the shadows of the garage, near the kitchen. Within the silence, I could hear from the kitchen. Once we get the place at the lake, we won't need him anymore. Need is a polite word for use. I saw a reflection of Lily from the staircase full-length mirror which Erica wanted so badly. It was one good thing that happened to me. Lily had her tongue in the corner of her mouth, my habit, mirrored. Too many doors on her castle. It needs another door, she said, and I thought, my daughter will grow up believing houses should be easy to leave. That night I told Mike everything. He leaned back. I know a guy, private investigator, quiet. Entered Kincaid with tie that looked new, face that didn't. We met at a diner where the pancakes are bigger than your regrets. He listened while I laid out our life like a job site. Load-bearing wall, hairline cracks, where the floor sags when you put weight in the wrong place. When people steal from the life they live in, he said, they repeat themselves. Patterns protect them until you make the pattern proof. He slid over paperwork, legal, boring. My favorite kind of weapon. Meanwhile, Ryan didn't know Mike, which made Mike perfect. Mike is the kind of man bartenders upgrade without charging. People tell him things they should tell a priest. He asks small questions, then lets silence do the heavy lifting. They met at a place with college hoops on the TV and a jukebox that favored Tom Petty. Night one was an accident that took planning. Mike took the stool, one shy of Ryan's, nodded at the game, didn't crowd, ordered a beer, tipped like he meant it. When the bartender, Tori with a sleeve of black ink flowers, brought the round, Mike said, "Put his next on me if he's stuck watching this defense." Ryan smiled. Men bond over the dumbest truths. "Rough week?" Mike asked, eyes on the screen. "Between things," Ryan said, vague on purpose. "Consulting. Contracting," Mike offered, matching vagueness with vagueness. "Waiting on a check that keeps not arriving. You know how it goes." It was a gift, a tiny confession without stakes. Ryan took it like water in a drought. Night two felt like a coincidence, but wasn't. Mike was already there, losing at darts to a stranger with a trucker hat and no mercy. He shrugged it off, laughed easy, gestured at the board. "You any good?" Ryan was. Mike let him win by just enough. They split a plate of wings on Mike, argued about whether the band on the jukebox was better before the bassist quit, of course, and traded harmless history. Mike went first. He always went first. Divorced, friendly enough. She got the dog, I got the tools, works up and down. Got a late client I'm trying to lock in, but payments are soft. He rolled his hand, letting the sentence trail into a space where another man might put his own story. Ryan slid into it like he'd been invited. "I'm covered for now," he said, trying on a swagger he couldn't afford. "Got someone who believes in me." "Good to be believed in," Mike said, meaning nothing and everything. Night three, Mike brought a small favor. 2 tickets he couldn't use for the minor league game Friday. "Take a date," he said, "or don't. No catch. Trust is built with cheap generosity, not speeches." They didn't go to the game. They went to the bottom of a bottle. Ryan ordered old fashions like personality traits. Mike kept the pace, then stepped back. Nurse it, nudge it, let him talk. Men like Ryan love biographers who don't carry notebooks. Ryan started testing bigger sentences in the noisy room. "I've got a numbers girl," he said finally, chest warm with whiskey and attention. "Smart, invisible, when she needs to be. She moves money through vendors. We skim the arbitrage. It's art." Mike snorted. "Art with invoices? You'd be amazed," Ryan said, delighted to be the teacher. "Prepay a supplier, catch a discount, redirect the float. 15% if you speak the language." "What about overhead?" Mike asked, lazy, curious. "Rent, car, life?" "She covers it when timing's tight," Ryan said, too quickly for it to be a lie. "Friday for the rent, next week for the car. We're keeping it under 10 a pop, so no alarms." Mike let the quiet settle, stared at the TV like a man thinking about nothing. Then, "Gonna be a hell of a summer when that big money hits." Ryan grinned. "Once we get the place at the lake, we won't need him anymore." "Who's him?" Mike asked, soft as a napkin. "The husband," Ryan said, enjoying the word like a dare. "Daniel. Nice guy. Too trusting." Tori set down another round. Mike paid. "To believers," he said. "To believers," Ryan echoed, and added, reckless now, "Erica and I have a plan." 2 stools down, Kincaid didn't blink. His phone lay face down, mic up, the way professionals pray. By the end of week 3, we didn't just have a name and a scheme. We had pattern, method, and a voice memo where Ryan bragged about living off someone else's dime, saying Erica like a man who thinks the universe can't hear him. I wanted to know how far her morals would go if I built the road myself. So I built a company. Cedarline Aggregate, LLC, letterhead. A dusty logo. A quote for our next job that Erica should prepay for a 15% discount, her favorite number. I left the quote where invoices go to become facts. 2 days later, $98.50. 2 days after that, $98.50. Pattern, meet proof. The house sounded exactly like a house that isn't on fire. Keyboard clicks. Cartoon theme from Lily's tablet. Neighbor's dog kicking the bowl against the fence. Ordinary is a camouflage with great reviews. Our 15th anniversary glowed on the calendar like fresh paint. Erica floated hints. Favorite restaurant. Address that asked to be seen. Something special this year, she said, slicing an apple into precise moons. I booked the place with linen napkins folded into swans that will drown anyway. The manila envelope sat in my truck, heavy as a confession. Before dinner, more breadcrumbs. A new credit card. Just for travel points. A silk scarf in her back seat that costs as much as a tool belt. A playlist she closed when I entered, the screen going black like a stage light cut. We sat. Butter smelled like money. She looked beautiful. This matters. Beauty confuses. We pretend it doesn't. To 15, as she said, eyes scanning the room the way guilty people check mirrors. We small talked about Maple Street trim and Lily's school play, about Mrs. Dorsey finally deflating her seasonal snowman in March. The waiter poured water. I slid the envelope. Erica's face did that freeze you only see when the brain trips over a new fact and the body arrives late. What is this? The bill, I said. You can pay it with your new partner. I won't pretend I didn't rehearse that line. Petty fits well when you're thin from starving. She tried on 3 dresses. This is a mistake. How dare you spy on me? I've been lonely. You're never home. None of them fit. Daniel, she said, the voice of a woman who once counted quarters with me for pizza. We can fix this. I will, I said. For Lily. I left her there with navy silk and a swan guarding nothing. I did not pay. I still tipped that waiter in my head. The morning after the envelope, the house sounded like a hotel you checked out of but forgot your code in. I did the dull heroics first. Froze joint accounts. New passwords everywhere. Pro tip. Grief makes strong passphrases. Removed her admin access from books she once curated like a museum wing. Then I walked through our spaces the way an insurance adjuster walks a burned room. Her office, succulents still pretending not to be plastic. A mug that said, Boss of the numbers, hairline crack across the O like an omen I missed. The corkboard with pastel pins, due dates for other people's money, a printed quote, trust the process. I boxed things with labels that sounded like verdicts, personal, company property, evidence. In the evidence box, I placed the Cedar Line deposits, the vendor prepayments, screenshots of one message deleted, printed at 100% scale so a judge could see the ghost text with human eyes. Paper has a way of making sin sober. The phone buzzed and buzzed. Erica's name, then her sister's, then unknown, which is just what the guilty name themselves when they're tired. I let it all go to voicemail and listened to the house. Grief is noisy when you're still. You can hear it knocking around in the vents. Lily patted in, hair a halo of sleep static. Daddy, why are we whispering? We're not, I said. We're being careful. She considered this, like it might be a new game. Careful is boring, she announced, then crawled into my lap and pointed at the spreadsheet open on my laptop. Is that a map? In a way, I said. It tells us where we've been and where we shouldn't go again. She nodded like I'd just explained the gravity. At pickup, her teacher said softly, Lily was extra quiet today. I almost laughed. Quiet is loud when a 6-year-old wears it. That night I cooked simple. Spaghetti, garlic bread, salad from a plastic tub that promised spring in January. We ate at the small table. Lily swung her feet like a metronome for a time I couldn't control. Where's Mom? She asked finally. Because honesty is a muscle children use even when adults are too sore. At Aunt Jenna's for a little while, I said. Grown-up problem. Is it about the voices? She asked. What voices? The phone voices you don't want me to hear. So, she had been listening longer than I knew. Children are tape recorders that edit kindly to protect you, but they are tape recorders. Some words don't like the light, I said carefully. They hide. That's how you know they're not good words. Like when a spider goes under the couch, she said, disgusted and curious at once. Exactly. We built a Lego bridge after dinner. She wanted 10 doors again. I taught her how beams carry weight. Because weight tells the truth. She repeated, pleased to be in on a secret. When she slept, I sat in my truck in the driveway in the cold and let the quiet settle until my jaw unclenched. The dashboard clock ticked in green. You don't realize how much a body clenches until a room leaves it alone. Inside, I wrote emails to vendors. No drama, just facts. Subject, authorized signer update. Body, effective immediately, Erica Hale no longer represents Hale Renovation. All approvals must come from me. Questions? Call me directly. In 20 minutes, I had replies. 2 received thanks. 1 understood. 1 longer. We've been nervous. Some invoices felt atypical. Glad you're on this. That word again. Nervous. It had been in the house like carbon monoxide. I opened a blank note titled After and wrote 3 boring lines. Pay payroll on time, pack a weekend bag for Lily, no drama, breathe like a person, not like a trapped animal. At 11:34 p.m., Erica texted a message that told me exactly how far down the tunnel she'd traveled. If you destroy us, you destroy Lily's future. The abuser's favorite trick? Use the child. I typed and deleted 5 responses before deciding the only reply she deserved right now was a document. I sent her the cedar line deposits with the subject, pattern, no commentary, just math. Numbers don't lie, people do. I finally understood she'd been warning me about herself. I slept on the couch with the TV hovering soft over a documentary about bridges. Engineers spoke in gentle certainty about load, tensile strength, and redundancy. I dreamed of cables and wind that made them sing. And in the morning, coffee tasted like a decision. Courthouse lighting is democratic. Everyone looks tired. I wore my only suit. It remembered a thinner man. My lawyer, Collins, had a voice you'd lend your wallet to. She handed me a pen and said, keep your hands busy, not your mouth. Across the aisle, Erica's attorney had crisp hair and a face you trust if you like magic tricks. Erica wore a pale blouse, lip, lie. She clasped her hands on the table, the way you clasp when you want the world to think you pray. The judge was the best kind, a man you'd forget in a grocery line. No vanity, just a throat clearing that sounded like a stamp. Kincaid slid into the pew behind me, nodded once, his tie still wanted a better morning. We were not a movie, we were paper. Collins started with the map, not accusations, dates. Exhibit A, vendor prepayment, West Shore Materials, 9800. Not a vendor, not a material, not a thing. Exhibit B, Cedar Line aggregate deposits, $98.50 2. Time to Erica's approvals. Not a trap, a mirror. Exhibit C, bank statements with withdrawals aligned to Ryan's rent and car payments. Not a coincidence, a pulley system. At one point, the judge asked Collins to slow down so he could write the numbers in his own hand. He pressed hard. The pen left grooves of belief in the page. Erica's attorney tried 3 roads. These payments were a business strategy. Collins, name the job sites those materials went to. Silence. The kind of silence that blushes. The Cedar Line test was entrapment. Collins, entrapment is a criminal doctrine. This is civil dissolution, Your Honor, and the only trap here was the defendant's habit of paying invisible vendors. My client was lonely. Collins, loneliness does not reroute retirement accounts. The judge looked at Erica over his glasses the way math teachers look at students who show no work. Did you authorize these payments? She started to cry. Tears are persuasive when the audience wants to be persuaded. The judge did not. Yes or no, he said, not unkindly. Yes, she whispered. Were you aware of the destination accounts? He asked. She blinked. They were vendors. Who delivered what? Her lips parted, closed. The fluorescent lights hummed like an old argument. The courtroom, wood polish, old carpet, someone's cologne from earlier, held us like an old church. The judge turned to me. Mr. Hale, how old is the child? 6, I said. Believes castles should have 10 doors. Sleeps with a flashlight because she likes to check in the dark. We are not here to punish, the judge said to the room, which is what I imagine he says to himself every morning like a creed. We are here to protect. He paused. Especially the child. He wrote, We waited. Kincaid breathed like a metronome behind me. Erica stared at a spot on the table as if numbers might climb out of it and build her a different life. Ruling, property division, weighted by marital waste. Business to me. I was the one who could run it without it running off. House to me. Stability for Lily. Sole legal and physical custody to me, with structured visitation for Erica. Daytime, supervised initially, expanding with compliance. A parenting class for each of us. Judges love classes the way carpenters love levels. It shows effort toward plumb. Erica made a sound, like something soft folding. Erica's counsel asked for a recess, denied. We're concluding while clarity is warm, the judge said. We stood as he left, the bailiff's mint breath trailing after the robe. The sound of chairs re-entering gravity, wood scraping over old carpet. Papers stacked, lives reshelved. Outside, the January air bristled with a kind of minor triumph and major fatigue. The steps felt taller. Erica caught up to me at the bottom. No lawyer now, just a woman with eyes that used to laugh near ovens. Daniel, she said, please, we can make a plan for her. We have one, I said. A judge wrote it. She needs her mother. She needs adults who don't hide money under made-up names. And you, she asked, bitterness trying on glory. You never hid anything? I thought of the 2 weeks I knew and chose to watch, to build a clean case, to test. I hid my fear, I said, so I could do the right thing instead of the loud thing. She flinched like I'd slapped her and walked away with her hands empty. Kincaid appeared from nowhere, like a habit. You did well, he said. I kept my mouth shut, I said. He smiled. Same thing most days. I called Collins and thanked her for being boring in all the right ways. Then I drove to Lily's school and waited in the parking lot 10 minutes early. Because sometimes the only control you have is proximity. When she ran out, backpack bouncing, sun purple in her drawing again, I decided I would never correct that color. I would leave some things extravagant. That night we celebrated with pancakes for dinner and a movie we'd both pretend to understand. I let her have syrup for the past reason. She fell asleep sticky and victorious. I cleaned the kitchen slowly, the way you clean a place you plan to keep. Accounting is a love language if you do it right. I set up rules. Friday cash flow review, Monday job prep, Wednesday vendor reconciliation. No mystery weeks. No we'll see. I built a dashboard that told the truth in thirds. Cash. What exists. Committed. What we promised. Imagined. What we think will win. Imagine got no spending rights. I called a team meeting. Guys gathered around the miter, saw like it could translate anything. I told them the truth, not the gossip. We had internal theft. It's resolved. Your jobs are safe. We'll be sharper than we were last month. Mike asked one question. You good? Getting there, I said. He nodded like a foreman stamping a form. We replaced Erica's passwords with mine, replaced her routines with my rituals. I cleared her desk but left one thing. The picture of Lily finger painting in a smock twice her size. That's not a possession, that's a timeline. Vendors sent sympathy disguised as professionalism. Happy to continue working with you. Let us know if you need extended terms. The local lumberyard owner clapped my shoulder and said, We all have a story. Glad yours has a next chapter. I reran our retirement. It was thinner than I liked. Fine. I've always been handier with the future when it looks like a project, not a prize. At night, after bedtime routines, teeth, story, flashlight check, I became a quiet surgeon. Cut streaming we don't use, killed the gym I never attend, demo work as cardio, fight me, sold the extra trailer that we might need someday. I kept one indulgence, the good coffee, because joy is a line item that saves you in ways spreadsheets can't show. Erica sent 3 emails via Collins's office about visitation. We complied like boring saints. At the Children's Center, she sat in a plastic chair too small for regret while Lily showed her a drawing of a castle with an absurd number of doors. Erica said, Why so many? Lily said, So you can always find your way out. I watched through a glass that made everyone look farther away than they were. On the 4th visit, Erica brought a new stuffed rabbit. Lily held it the way kids hold gifts they suspect are apologies. Erica whispered, I'm getting help. She didn't specify what kind. Therapy, budgeting, not lying. I hoped for all three and believed none. Hope is a habit I practice like stretching. Good for the muscles, dangerous for heavy lifts. Kincaid emailed a final report with a note. You'll never read this again unless you need to. Put it in the safe. Live forward. I did. Top shelf next to birth certificates and the deed that now said my name alone. I didn't love the loneliness of that ink. I loved the clarity. Ryan faded from ambient rumor to visible decline. The hotel lounge banned him for extended networking with other people's tabs. The landlord posted a notice in a font that does not bluff. A friend of a friend saw him at a pawn shop haggling with a man who had a knife tattoo about a watch that wasn't worth the story attached to it. Mike texted, "Pearl snap shirt finally wrinkled." I didn't respond, but I read it twice. On a Tuesday, between a backsplash install and a city inspector who smelled like cinnamon gum and impatience, I got a call from a number that wore thrift store manners. "Daniel," Ryan said, voice thin, confidence evicted. Can we meet? I can work, I'm good with people." "You were good with mine," I said. "That's not a skill. That's a siphon." I let the silence be the lecture I'd never give as well as the reference he deserved. He tried one more time. "Man to man." "You never tried man to man," I said. "You tried the man's wallet." I hung up, blocked the number, took a breath so large my ribs felt new. And then I did something that surprised me with its mercy. I wrote his name on a sticky note and put it in the freezer. Every time I went for ice, I saw it and told myself, let gravity work. You don't have to be gravity. The human brain loves revenge fantasies because they're movies you direct. Actual justice is paperwork and patience. I was getting good at both. On Sunday, I fixed the porch step that had been listing like a drunk apology for a year. Simple stringer adjustment. New tread. Paint later. Lily sat on the stoop, supervising with popsicle authority. "Are we poor?" she asked suddenly, watching me pry. "We're not," I said. "We're careful." "Is careful boring?" she asked again, investigating the nature of virtue like a tiny philosopher. "Sometimes," I said, "but boring builds docks." She considered this, then nodded at the universe as if to say, "Proceed." We looked at pictures of lake houses online that night. She liked ones with red doors. I liked ones with roofs that didn't lie. I promised nothing. I bookmarked 3. The letter arrived in late spring. Cream envelope, law firm return address, tone of a man who eats his sandwiches standing up. Erica Hale. Notice of bankruptcy filing. I read it the way you smell old varnish. Familiar, unpleasant, survivable. It laid out creditors like a seating chart at a wedding you regret. 3 cards, 2 store accounts, 1 apartment good at thin walls, a car loan that had been a love language until it wasn't. She'd filed Chapter 13, repayment plan. It meant she wasn't quitting. It also meant that old life was condemned. I texted Collins, "Do I need to do anything?" She replied, "Nope, keep records. Document child support coming in and going out. Staying bored. The legal profession is just carpentry with Latin." 2 weeks later, I saw Erica at the supervised exchange. She looked smaller, in the face, not the body, like guilt had filled her edges. She handed me a folder. Lily's school art, schedule, a note from her counselor reminding parents to use identical language when describing large changes. "Like what?" Lily asked, bunny underarm, ears dirty from affection. "Like when a house has fewer doors," I said, and realized I needed to retire that metaphor before she built a life that feared walls. "Are you okay?" Erica asked, and for the first time in months it sounded like a person talking to another person, not a plea disguised as a courtesy. "I'm steady," I said. "I'm trying," she said. "I wanted you to know." "Good," I said. "Keep it about her." Ryan reappeared as rumors writ large. A friend spotted him outside a co-working space you can use if you eat their muffins and don't talk too loud. He was pitching something involving growth and disruption, the 2 words people use when they want to lend credibility from the future. It did not land. Another friend, our tile guy with antennae for human mess, said Ryan got picked up for trespassing at a complex he used to live in. Not jail, Just the kind of police talk to you get when you assume key fobs are optional. Pride kept showing up to places his access didn't. I didn't cheer, I didn't feel pity. I picked up Lily from school and listened to her argue with a friend about whether mermaids need jackets. They do for sea wind, she explained. The world kept being absurd and beautiful in clean, unrelated ways. One Saturday, after Lily fell asleep mid-episode under a blanket she names every time, currently Button, I opened the cedar box where I keep both old photographs and new promises. Erica smiled up at me from a decade ago. I can still smell. Bread, floor cleaner, the cheap rose perfume she wore when she wanted to feel like a woman and not a machine. What would you do? I asked the paper, quiet enough not to wake a child and loud enough for the dead to hear. Her eyes did that thing eyes do in pictures, held steady while you change. I wrote her a letter I'll never mail. Told her I'd learned the only arithmetic that matters. Add boundaries. Subtract access to those who treat you like an ATM with legs. Multiply by time showing up. Divide everything by ego. The math checked out. Monday morning, I got to a job site early, missed still thinking about leaving the grass. I ran my hand over a newel post we'd installed. Oak. Honest grain. No stain yet to lie about what it is. The client, a widow in her 60s with a laugh that reminds you of church basements and sheet cake, came out in her robe. I just like watching something get made, she said, apologizing for being human. Me too, I said. She asked about Lily. I told her purple suns and Lego doors. She said, my grandson used to color all his trees blue because the sky gets lonely. And I almost cried at a sentence that didn't owe me anything. On the way back to the truck, my phone vibrated. Unknown number, I let it go. The realtor chirped. I tuned her to background and went to work. Crawl space, dry clean gravel, insulation where insulation should be, joists, true, water heater, 5 years old, not a liar, electrical, tidy panel. Someone who cared had labeled it with a pencil, then traced in ink years later. Roof, honest aging, no theater. I stood in the living room and listened for what the place wasn't trying to sell me. Silence sells me faster than spells. Can we name a duck now? Lily asked, serious as a foreman. We haven't bought a house, I said. She considered the dock like a blank form. We can name the lake first, she offered. What would you name it? She looked out at the water, which floated 30,000 unsayable things, then said, Sun Soup. It was a ridiculous name. It was perfect. We made an offer below asking with an inspection contingency. The seller tried the old, another party is very interested trick. My reply was a single sentence. If they love her, let them marry her. He came down $5,000 and included the John boat. At closing, the paralegal pushed paper across faux wood. The fluorescent light hummed the hymn, All County Buildings Know. I signed the way men sign when they're keeping a promise to a person who used to share their bed and to a smaller person who shares their breakfast table. Congratulations, someone said. It landed like a stamp. I didn't tell anyone except the only two who needed to know. We drove straight there with a sleeping bag, a toolbox, 2 mugs, and a loaf of bread. No ceremony, rituals build themselves. We stood on the dock at dusk. The lake exhaled. A mallard approached, optimist with feathers. Lily tore bread with the solemnity of communion. Hello, receipt, she said and tossed. The duck was approved for bites. We set house rules that first night, written on the back of a paint swatch with a dull pencil. Purple sun, mornings are for pancakes. The 10-door rule applies to Lego castles, not to secrets. Phones face up, always. Doc math on Fridays, count boards, count waves, count blessings you can verify. If a word can't survive the light, it sleeps outside. I propped a photo of Erica on a shelf that already knew what to do with memories. Knotty pine can carry weight. We did it, I told her. The glass didn't answer. The room did. After Lily fell asleep in a sleeping bag that turned her into a small burrito of relief, I wrote the letter I'd been composing in my head since the first vendor prepayment showed up like a stray dog. For Lily, open when you're ready. You will meet people who keep their phone face down. Sometimes it's fine, sometimes it rotes. Learn which is which. You will meet people who call you too sensitive. They're announcing the size of their empathy, not yours. If anyone asks you to hide something for now, they're telling you when the truth dies, not at night, but in the for now. Money is just trust in numbers. Love is just trust in people. Treat both like tools. Clean them. Put them away. Don't leave them out in the rain. Pick partners who don't need you to be dumber than you are. If they mock caution, they don't understand bridges. If you ever find yourself making excuses faster than facts, stop and count. You don't have to write a novel about a red flag. One line item is enough. You may want to forgive before you understand. That's kindness. But don't move back into a burning house to prove you're nice. When you build a dock, square the first board. Every board after that depends on the first one being right. This is true for construction. This is true for promises. If you're reading this because you think I failed you, bring me the ledger. We'll audit together. Love, Dad. I folded it, wrote for later on the envelope, taped it under the top drawer where she hides crayons. In the morning, the screen door slapped the way it does in movies that don't lie. We ate pancakes as if pancakes could fix the world. They can't. They help. By noon, we were measuring for shelves. Lily held the end of the tape like a professional. Level? She asked. Let's check. We set the level. The bubble centered itself between two black lines. The sound I made was not a laugh. It was something better and quieter. That afternoon, Erica texted, I heard you bought a place. Can we visit with her there? I stared at the words, at the lake, at receipt stamping his approval on the water. I replied, yes, daytime only. 2 hours, no surprises, phones face up. If a phone goes face down, the visit ends. Agreed? A long pause. Agreed. Boundary is love that reads the manual. We met on Saturday. Lily led the tour as if she'd built the place. This is the kitchen. It makes pancakes. This is the dock. It makes ducks. Erica stood on the dock and cried without sound, not a performance. The kind where the face tries to hold. It's beautiful, she said. It's enough, I said. Do you hate me? She asked, not looking at me. No, I said. Hate would require me to keep you close. We watched Lily negotiate with a dragonfly. The lake made a lace of light on her legs. Erica spoke to the water. I'm trying. I hope you get there, I said. Could we, she started, and I knew the rest of the sentence by heart. Could we go back? Could we pretend? Could we trade this dock for a time machine? No, I said, gentle as measurements. But you can go forward. It's the only direction we own. She nodded, took a breath like a person who remembered how. And for 2 hours, we were just adults who loved the same child in sunlight, with nothing hidden. When they left, Lily ran back and hugged me, like her arms had notes she forgot to give. Can we sleep on the dock? She asked. Not yet, I said, but soon. That night, crickets argued about philosophy. The screen door kept slapping a rhythm the house seemed to enjoy. I slept deeper than men do when they still expect the phone to ring. It didn't. Justice doesn't arrive with trumpets. It shows up with forms and a pen that works. 2 months into lake life, I could tell time by dock rituals. Tuesday. Replace the one board that went soft and pretended not to. Friday. Dock math. Lily counted waves. 40-16, a number both wrong and right. I counted weeks since my life stopped leaking. Sunday. Letters. I will write one from the past. I don't mail it. The lake knows. One Tuesday, an envelope with my name and Erica's handwriting appeared in the mailbox. No return address. The lake wind tried to open it for me. Inside, 2 pages, blue ink. No perfume, no performance. She didn't beg. She didn't blame loneliness or my hours or his laughter. She wrote about compulsion, how easy it is to become a person who starts with just this once and ends with, who even am I? She wrote about the thrill of getting away with something and how that thrill is a drug that makes quick work of conscience. She wrote the line her therapist gave her. Secrets aren't things you keep. They're things that keep you. At the end, I'm sorry, not for getting caught, for becoming someone our daughter should not admire. I will not ask to come back. I will ask you to tell me if I am doing right by her, and if not, to say so in words I can use. I read it twice. Then I did what the lake taught me, kept only what doesn't rot. I texted, Received. Keep going. When you keep a promise for 6 months, I'll increase time with her. Keep the proof boring. She replied, Okay, then nothing, the best kind of nothing. A week later, Kincaid called just to check in. Men who see wrecks sometimes want proof that survivors learn to drive. How's the dock? He asked. Holding, I said. Good, he said. Remember, quiet doesn't mean nothing's happening. Sometimes it means everything is happening correctly. Do you give that to all your clients? I asked. I wrote it for myself, he said, and hung up before the moment got awkward. September found us in sweaters and sun, the kind of light that forgives. I taught Lily to coil a rope without twisting it. She taught me which clouds are for dragons and which are for naps. We negotiated a treaty between worlds. If she would wear a life vest, I'd let her name the hammer. She named it Math. On a Saturday, Ryan appeared on the dock as if conjured by the sentence, What could disturb this afternoon? I don't know how he found us. Probably the same way men like him find any soft target. Persistence, mixed with luck. He stood 10 feet away, hands up, meaning peace. The gesture looked foreign on him. He'd lost weight and the kind of hair you can buy back. The pearl snaps were gone. He wore a hoodie with a stain that told a practical story. Don't, Lily said from behind me, alert and very small. It's okay, I told her, and meant the right now, not the always. Just want to say something, he said, voice sounding down. Say it from there. He nodded at the water. I thought I won, he said. I thought I got out, and turns out I was just falling without a sound. He looked at Lily, then at me. He did not ask for money. He did not ask for work. He said, I'm sorry. And for the first time since I learned his name, I believed he had met daylight. I hope you get better, I said, the same sentence I'd given Erica months earlier. Standard issue mercy. He nodded like someone who understood that hope is not a door, just a map. He left. The lake closed behind him like lake stew. No ripples last forever. Is he a bad guy? Lily asked. He did bad things, I said. People can do that and still be people. Our job is to keep the dock strong. She accepted this. Kids are generous with complexity if you hand it to them straight. We went back to our math. She counted clouds. I counted boards. The numbers came back loyal. In October, Erica hit 6 months of doing what she said she would. Clean screens, on-time visits, pay stubs, a budget spreadsheet that looked like a life you could trust, columns neat enough to skate on. I increased her time with Lily, just like I promised in a text I could scroll up to show anyone who needed proof, including myself. 2 weeks later, she asked if she could sit on the dock during Lily's bedtime and just listen to the water while I read inside. I said yes, because forgiveness isn't a time machine. It's a fence with a gate you control. She sat out there while Lily and I read about mice with swords. The lake spoke its fluent hush. When Erica left, she put her hand on the red door, looked at me like a person looking at a lighthouse from a boat, then got in her car and drove away on the right side of the road. Winter came like a careful contractor. We wrapped pipes. I sanded the dock and sealed it on a 48-degree day that felt like a gift you almost didn't open in time. The screen door slapped less in the cold. The house learned to whisper. In December, Lily's school asked parents to write one sentence of advice for the class quilt. I wrote, square the first board. Erica wrote, keep your words in the light. They stitched side by side. It looked like a plan. On New Year's Eve, Lily fell asleep before 9, forearms over her eyes like a tiny celebrity avoiding paparazzi. I stood on the dock with a mug that steamed honesty and watched someone else's fireworks tremble in the distance. They were small from here, just the right size. I thought about the first Tuesday, the whisper, the rent, the car payment, the he. I thought about Cedarlane, about how entrapment is a word people use when they hate the mirror. I thought about judges who prefer boring, about lawyers who speak in levels, about PIs with ties that never get a perfect morning. I thought about the sentence that had been true the whole time. Numbers don't lie. People do. And I amended it on a dock that taught me amendments matter. Numbers don't lie. People can learn to stop. I went inside. The red door closed like a full stop. On the kitchen table lay next month's budget, Lily's purple sun drawing, and a list titled Dock Work, Spring. Replace 2 boards, add cleats, Teach knots, buy more bread. Audit complete. Not with gloating, with balance. I turned off my phone and left it face up. The lake kept our secrets because we didn't give it any. Happy New Year, Sun Soup, I said to no one. Then I added the last line item and went to sleep. Future, paid in full.